Hello, everybody. Steve Politti here live at High Point Solutions Stadiums. How cool is that? For episode 2 of season 2 of the Rebuilding Rutgers podcast. As always, I am joined by the finest beat writers in the country. Keith Sargent, Ryan Dunleavy. And we've had a lot to talk about. I mean, you watched the game. We saw it. Rutgers 1 year ago obliterated by Washington. This year, different story. 30-14, loss, still a loss, but if you're a fan and you knew you were going to watch this team and you knew you were going to looking for just signs of improvement after last season, you had to come away feeling like you saw some at least.
I think in Rutgers history, I don't know if anyone's ever been more satisfied with a 30-14 loss, right? I mean, we're coming off last year. I mean, we talked about going into the game. You just need to see some signs of improvement. Right. Can they make it a game in the third quarter? That was one of my keys, and they did. The game was. You could make a case that it was a game in the fourth quarter after they got that touchdown. So, I think we saw a lot of signs of positive improvement.
So let's get right to it. The first segment I am calling, "Hey, nobody drowned in the hot tub." Which is just to say that, if you thought things weren't going to go well, you were wrong. And I want to just, each one of you, just go through, give me the one thing that surprised you the most from this game. Ryan, you start.
It's only fair, since I wrote the story on game day, to say the thing that surprised me the most was the crowd. They showed up. They announced 46,000. I'd say it was probably every bit of 40 was here. They showed up. They were loud. They applauded the team, even though they were down 10-7 at halftime. They gave them a big ovation going back to the locker room. They were loud on a couple key situations, especially after that first opening drive touchdown. The Rutgers fans showed up and
on time too.
Yeah,
right?
on
Friday
time.
night game. That's been a problem.
Yep, absolutely. They showed up. The parking lots were. You and I had trouble on River Road, which is
how could they not fix that? They closed the stupid park. This is a bad place to start the rant. But they're not parking in that little park anymore. How hard is it? Why can't they get a footbridge? This is a Big Ten school. Why am I waiting there in this traffic so 3 kids can cross the street when a school bus unloads?
Yes, I don't understand that.
It's infuriating.
Yeah, but it's never good to piss off the columnist who's going to.
But the only everybody, I can't be the only one sitting there going, "This could be done better."
What's mind blowing is the only people who take River Road are the media and the high-end boosters who park in the Scarlet lot. If you're parking in like the purple lot or whatever, you're great.
You're already screwed. All right, that is a good observation. Very fair. We've taken shots at the fans before. They were pretty good. Sarge,
the line play. Chris Ash mentioned after the game. Jay Neiman talked about it today and yesterday, but certainly the line play surprised me. Talking about a Washington team that had all Americans along the defensive line, the offensive line that had 4 starters back. They were not overmatched. Guys who I really hadn't written a whole lot about. We hadn't written about Willington Prevalon, played really well.
Absolutely.
Kamoko Toure, he came to play. Once he got into the game in the second quarter. Certainly especially on the defensive line, I thought really held their own.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm going to write today. I think that's the most important thing coming out of this game. Yeah. They were They were not good on either side of the ball in the trenches last year, and that's very encouraging. All right, my surprising thing is more on the negative side. I thought when this game was in a winnable situation, and it really was a winnable situation.
Define winnable.
Here we go again. A game with you could win, and when you're only down 3 points in the third quarter.
Okay.
I was surprised and a little disappointed that there wasn't more aggressiveness from Chris Ash on the 4th and 1 calls, from overall on the play calling. It just seemed like maybe Rutgers was surprised to be in the situation in the close game and played. They didn't abandon. The light didn't go on and say, "Hey, we can win this thing. Let's steal this game." And it was just too conservative for me, and I was just disappointed because really, you saw right away early in this game that this was a different team. This was going to be competitive. That first drive, the first scoring drive, you saw good offense. The defense was 2 3 and outs to start. You're like, okay, wait a minute here. And I'm just that surprised me that they really didn't go for the jugular in the second half.
Yeah, just to touch on one thing you just said, that it was almost like Rutgers was surprised. I think Rutgers was surprised.
Right.
The refreshingly honest Jerry Kill literally has said twice now since the game ended that even he didn't really know what he had, and he was pleasantly surprised by how well they blocked, how well the receivers got separation. I think you're right. I think you hit on something. I think even Rutgers was surprised how good they were.
Absolutely. All right, segment.
I was going to touch on, I think, I understand the approach, playing field position and all that. If you pin him inside the 10-yard line, maybe it's different. But you got the sense that you're just waiting for Washington to kind of explode and to start playing well, and they're playmakers, and that's what happened. I mean, they tempoed them. They went to a faster tempo in the third quarter, and that's pretty much what happened. I think almost everyone in the press box was in agreement that you got to go for it there.
Right. All right, segment 2. I'm going to call it "Do You Want a Mulligan?" And I spent since game on Friday, I spent a lot of the day on Saturday watching Big Ten football, and saw some things that surprised me, saw some things that impressed me. So now, we gave our predictions for the season last year. Now that you've watched it and you've seen some things, do you want to revisit anything you said?
Yeah, I mean, I picked them 5-7, so I was a little bit more optimistic. I'll stick with that. I'll stick with 5-7. I still think that they could beat Purdue and Illinois, and then either a Maryland or a Indiana. I know both of those teams look pretty good, but I think that they could go 5-7. The one thing that I would probably change, and believe it or not, it sounds silly because he didn't get a sack, but Kamoka Ture, where we talked about whether or not he's going to get 10. I went back. I watched the film. I just focused on him this morning, and he really played well. He had the 2 quarterback hurries. He played well in run support. If he plays like the way that he did, considering he played against a really good offensive line, if he plays like that all year, he's going to have 10 sacks.
And I know he had the blown assignment on the touchdown, but you're absolutely right. The kid, he just looks like he had a different gear. And finally, this is what we thought this kid was going to be.
It's amazing what NFL aspirations will do to motivate.
Right.
I won't take a mulligan on my 4 wins, but I will say this. I was close to going on the Sarge bandwagon of 5 wins or 6 wins or 8 wins or whatever it is King Optimism does. I'm not going to do that. Mm-hmm. I thought they might steal Maryland or Indiana or whatnot. I don't think that anymore. Indiana looked so good against Ohio State. They got gas. It actually kind of reminded me a little bit of the Rutgers game, just with less points, but pushing them, and then just wearing out in the second half. And then Maryland, especially with a quarterback Rutgers recruited, doing that to Texas, I mean, that was impressive. So I still think they'll get 4. I don't know if it's Purdue, who looked, as you've said, looked really good, too, and losing to Louisville. So I don't know if I think they'll beat Illinois. I don't know if that other one is Indiana, Maryland, or Purdue, but to win 2 or 3 of those games, I thought they could last week. I don't think they can.
Yeah, I picked 3 and 9, and I tell you, I'm on the fence about going to 4 now, too, just from base. I thought that Illinois looks terrible. So if you don't win that game, if you're Rutgers, even on the road, I think that unless something dramatically changes, and Purdue, while they played certainly better than you would have expected, leading Louisville in the fourth quarter. Then that's still a winnable game. But you're absolutely right, and that's the problem. Like the teams that you thought would be on the bubble, Maryland looked. I mean, I get it. It's not Texas. It's lowercase t Texas, but still to go down there and play as well as you did. I mean, they looked really good offensively. And the other big problem to me, I watched nearly all the Michigan-Florida game and chunks of the Penn State. Penn State is the best team in this conference, I think. Yeah, and they look, defensively, Barkley, the quarterback, I just was really impressed. And then Michigan, when they had a poor offensive performance, the quarterback was shaky, a couple of pick sixes, and they dominated Florida.
And the defense, especially.
It was just
the defense gave up 3 points against a pretty good Florida team.
And that was their question, right? Michigan's defense, after losing 9 or 10 guys to the NFL, how are they going to be? They look pretty good.
Absolutely. All right, third segment. Know your non-conference opponent. All right, we're playing Eastern Michigan. I've prepared a 5-question quiz for you to see your knowledge.
I'm a pretty good student.
You're a pretty good student. All right. Well, we don't have any technology here on the Rebuilding Rutgers podcast, so just say ding, ding, ding if you think you know the answer to the question, and I'll call on you. Okay. First question: what town is Eastern Michigan's campus in?
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
Ypsilanti? Ypsilanti?
Come on. It's not like distant relative. Ypsilanti, yes.
Yeah.
Right. The blank look on Sarge's face, though.
So I get that one.
I thought that was the easy one.
We're not on TV right now, are we?
Oh, my God. You looked at me like, jeez. I should have asked, which corner of the state is Eastern Michigan University located in? I wouldn't have known that. All right. Second question. Eastern Michigan reached a bowl game for the first time in 29 years last season. In which bowl game did they play?
Ding, ding, ding. The Bahamas Bowl.
That is correct.
And they lost to Old Dominion.
Wow. All right.
Little does anyone know, but Dunleavy actually tried to cover that game. He wanted to go to the Bahamas.
When is Rutgers going to go to the Bahamas Bowl?
Yeah, exactly.
And rejected that scouting.
All right, third question. Which Major League manager for now at least, is an Eastern Michigan alum. The key in there is the "for now at least" part. That's a little hint for you.
I'm going to guess Terry Collins.
Ding, ding, ding! You got it. There it is. All right, pull back in there. 2-1. You're still down. If you can get this one, this is really a tricky one for you. Number 4th question: which longtime Law and Order star attended Eastern Michigan but dropped out? You can either give me the actor's name or just the character.
Well, I know a bunch of Law and Order stars, so it's just narrowing it down. I have no idea what the answer is, but I'm going to go ding, 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 and I'm going to go with Jerry Orbach.
Oh, no. He's still alive. He's still playing on Law and Order. But he is in a position of authority. Okay.
I'll take a second guess if Sarge doesn't have one.
No.
The guy who plays Sam Waterston or Jack McCoy.
Yeah, it's not. No, it's actually Dan Florek who plays Kragen, Lieutenant Kragen.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
He's that guy, the
I was
bald head guy
too high.
does the commercials. You've seen him. All right.
I was shooting too high.
Final question. Eastern Michigan last reached the second round of the NCAA tournament in 1996. Which powerhouse program did they beat? Hint: I was there.
Ding, ding, ding. Duke.
Correct. You got it.
Yeah.
Yes. Earl Boykin stunned Coach K. 1996. I had hair.
Got it.
It was great. You win.
Without the hint, I would have got it.
You know your conference opponent. Congratulations, Ryan. Three points.
He doesn't know anything about the Eastern Michigan football team.
No. Well, the only thing I know, I know they went to I went to the bowl, but I was stunned. Only 3.5 favorites for Rutgers. Did that surprise you guys?
A little. I mean, Rutgers hasn't won a game in 11 tries.
Yeah.
So
that's a good counterpoint. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to make them too big a favorite. And like you said, Eastern Michigan is coming off a bowl, 1-0. So a little bit, I thought maybe it'd be 6, but I didn't expect more than 7.
And I think early too. Even Vegas. I mean, as much as they should rule the world with how accurate they generally are. But you don't know. I mean, Liberty beat Baylor. Howard beat.
Oh my gosh, how about that?
Yeah. I mean,
Howard was up 14-0.
They were. They weren't up for long though.
But yeah, so you don't know. I mean, I think early in the year it's kind of tough. I mean, Eastern Michigan, like Ryan said, are coming off their bowl. They have a good quarterback. So
based on what you've seen this week, do you think this is going to be a game that Rutgers fans are chewing on their nails in the fourth quarter?
Yes.
Really?
Yes. I like how I liked, especially when I talked to Kyle Boland today. I think I like how they're approaching it. They seem like they're not taking it lightly, but I think it'll be a game into the third quarter.
I think this is going to be a 2-touchdown kind of comfortable win. I really do, based on what I saw, especially with the way they ran the ball and played defensively. They should beat Eastern Michigan.
Oh, they should, and I think they will. Right. I'll pick them. I just think I wouldn't be surprised if it's 28-21 with 6 minutes left in the game.
Well, that's fair. All right. A very popular segment from the one person I heard about last week's podcast, like the true or false segment. So we're going to bring it back this week. Again, here's how this works. I just want to hear true or false from you. Very simply, I'll pick a winner, of course, and when we're done, we'll go back. And I think there's a lot of things in here we're going to want to discuss. So let's go. We're going to start with Dunleavy this time. True or false? The Rutgers offense needs to quicken the pace moving forward.
True.
False.
Sarge? False. Okay. The atmosphere in High Point Solution Stadium on Friday was great. True or false?
False.
False.
Great's too strong of a word, I guess. Rutgers special teams will give up more than the 4 return touchdowns they gave up last season. True or false?
False.
Push. Push. That's false. Okay. True or false? Wow, that's going to be rough. All right. After watching Kyle Bolin, Gus Edwards, and the rest, Rutgers should load up on transfers every year. True or false?
False.
True.
Okay. Robert Martin is still the best running back on this team. Dunleavy, true or false?
False.
Wow.
False.
Both of you. Interesting. I'm going to discuss that one. Chris Ash was absolutely right to punt on 4th and short in the third quarter. Dunleavy.
False.
I think we covered that already. True or false? Clock management was a disaster before halftime last week. Dunleavy.
True.
Sarge.
True.
It was. We'll talk about that, I think, in this year. All right. The final one. Forget football. Forget wrestling. Forget women's soccer. Forget basketball. Rutgers is a field hockey school. True or false? Dunleavy.
True.
Oh, gosh. We're not. Oh, we'll get into that just to make sure someone in the sports information department is. Oh, I do have one last one. This is an important one. True or false? Bring back the hot tubs.
True.
False.
False. I think I forget we've done with
True.
them. They're still out there. I'm looking at them though.
Yeah,
I don't know if
true.
they haven't picked them up yet.
True.
I don't. Do you really need to make that a
I think
weekly
you're testing fate. You're
Maybe.
tempting fate a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what interests me is that both of you guys are Gus Edwards guys, and I feel I love the way he carried well. I think he was good, but my gosh, every time you see Robert Martin, he just looks like he's got a different gear than even Edwards did. So I mean, I get it. They're right to keep this rotation, but I got to see more of Robert Martin running in the running game. You feel that way?
No, I mean, I think you are what you are. I mean, Robert Martin still hasn't cracked 1,000 yards. I think there's a reason, whether it's injuries or whatever. I know he's averaged 5 yards per carry through his career, but I think we've seen enough for Robert Martin. I think Gus Edwards really ran the ball well, right. In spots. He probably still could have broken one or two, but I was generally impressed with Gus Edwards.
Right. Yeah.
I would say this. I think it's what you were alluding to, Steve, which is I think the carries, I don't have it in front of me, but it was like 23-12 or something, which
right.
is basically 2-1. Mm-hmm. I'd like to see it more 1-1. I'd like to see 18 each, something like that. I don't know that I'm ready to say Martin's better than Edwards, but that was the best I've seen Martin run the ball in probably, I don't know, a year and a half. Mm-hmm. So maybe the Iowa game last year was probably the best game I'd seen him. So I want to see more of him, but I still – Edwards, everything new and shiny is better, right? So I think it's probably closer than I thought, but I still want to see a lot of Edwards.
Now, the clock management thing is interesting because we basically at this point, and what we do in NJ.com, we cover every single facet of the game, and it's something we really didn't do a lot on. And I got 2 or 3 emails about it. People were frustrated about what happened at the end of the first half. Sarge, I mean, what did you think about it?
Yeah, my problem, and we asked Chris Ashley after the game, we might have even let him off the hook a little bit, but he said that he was perfectly content, satisfied with
right.
the way they did that whole thing. My problem is you settle for a 47-yard field goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've seen the team struggle throughout training camp. 47 yards is asking an awful lot, especially a kid who hadn't done it before. We talked about it going into this. Like he never attempted a field goal. In 4 years in Minnesota, he attempted one PAT, he missed it. So a 47-yard field goal
right.
is tough for an NFL kicker to ask this kid to do it. I think no way. I think that should have been the game plan. And
especially when and I didn't realize this until I went back and looked at it, when they spiked the ball on second down with a timeout, and they left the timeout. They didn't burn. I know you want to say the timeout to get the guy on the field, but okay, given the amount of time you took off the clock, I understand they wanted to make that the last play, but. That seemed like there's just something not right about those last few plays.
One thing I would throw in is I thought it goes back to what we talked about earlier, which is that they almost surprised themselves. They started that drive on the 7-yard line. I think they just wanted to run out the clock and get to like the 35-yard line, punt, have the clock expire, whatever, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh man, we could actually score here. So I don't know that they were actually in I don't think they were playing. I think the problem is they didn't even realize they were going to get a field goal, or they would have tried to get close.
Nobody was more surprised about Rutgers than Rutgers. Apparently, is the conclusion we can reach.
Yeah,
from
so
the first
that's kind of what I think.
Right.
I don't think you'd see that exact scenario. Yes. I don't think you'd see that this Saturday. I think that was Washington specific.
All right. Okay. Next segment, another popular one with the one person I heard about from this. It's called, very simply, the Big Ten fan base. We pissed off now. And here we go, folks. This is really going to piss them off, too, but it's kind of a weak fight song.
It's no Michigan. It's no Wisconsin.
It's no Go You Northwestern.
Yeah.
It sounds a little like Looney Tunes.
There's
probably a joke there, too.
When does it pick up? Is there like a refrain that you onward state? Is that what they yell?
I don't know.
All right, anyway. Let's see if I can turn it off now. I can't get rid of it.
We're going to do a We Are chant?
Please don't. Clearly, then this is not immediately that we pissed them off. But we certainly, oh my gosh, did we ever with the, and it's not a football thing, but it's the biggest news come out of Rutgers this week easily. Nick Soriano is eligible next year.
Yeah,
take us through, number one, what happened with it. Number two, are you surprised?
Yes, I'll start with 2. I'm very surprised that he's eligible, but huge news for Rutgers. I just didn't. Basically, what I didn't think would happen is when the Big Ten had a chance to anger either Penn State or the school that's been not Goodale, not Soriano, just the school that's been causing them headaches for 4 years. I thought for sure they'd anger that school, but I thought they did the right thing by everything I know. So go backwards. Nick Soriano, one of maybe the greatest high school wrestler ever in New Jersey history. four-time state champ, was at Penn State, was 17-1 as a true freshman, got injured, and wanted to transfer back home in conference. Rutgers, behind closed doors, asked Penn State, can you not stand in the way of this? Can you just let this kid have what he wants? And Penn State said no. Basically said
Sorry,
no.
Charlie.
Sorry, said no. The rich need everything.
Which is just a little aside. I mean, the fact that people still think they should control where an unpaid he's not even a quarterback, he's a wrestler,
Yes.
an unpaid college wrestler to go to school
Is
just incredible, and that it's why there's a revolt waiting to happen against the NCAA. Why people like Jay Billis picked up this cause on Twitter. Anyway, go on, finish it.
So Soriano wanted to transfer to Rutgers. The Big Ten Sunday night approved his decision to not have to wait out a year, which was the crux of it. Penn State released him to Rutgers. They said you can go, but they said you're going to have to sit out a year if the Big Ten doesn't do anything about it. Lose a year of eligibility and sit out a year. And obviously Soriano didn't want to do that. He's a kid who thinks he can win 3 more national titles, so he didn't want to lose a year of eligibility. They said you can go to Rutgers and not lose one, so now him enrolling at Rutgers is just dotting I's and crossing T's.
Do we have any more clarity as to why the Big Ten? I know that we don't want to run inside that room, but what do you think?
Yeah, I really don't. I mean, I know he was injured, and I know they felt like there was some precedent to his exact case, but I don't know exactly. I'm sure it'll come out eventually, but I don't know exactly what the Big Ten saw that said
Penn
go.
State fans, because I'm sure you're listening, we did this. NJ.com.
Yeah, hate us more. Hate us more.
I was going to say, I mean, you said on Twitter that this probably doesn't happen without Ryan's reporting. This might be the only credit I give him all year, but
That's incredible.
Credit to Ryan. The other two things I'll say is, suddenly the Maryland the game at Yankee Stadium is a hot ticket.
Hot ticket. Give me sure, hot ticket over there.
There will be. This is a true statement. There will be people who come just for the wrestling match.
That's fair.
There will be.
Absolutely.
Whereas you would think like
so 5,000 of those and 5,000 football fans to watch the game in the Bronx.
But a hotter ticket. When Penn State comes to town in late January, I think even Politi might actually
come and take his first wrestling match.
Seems like a big ask. I'm kidding. I love wrestling. It's great. And I've actually been to a wrestling match. Thank you very much. Not recently, but I have been, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I've covered Olympic wrestling. It's a wonderful sport if you know what's going on.
I don't really know what's going on.
I've covered it for 5 years. I don't really know. But to close this segment, on come back full circle. The one person who I fear for, I think we might have to get some security for, is Ryan Dunleavy. When
good
Penn State fans flooding into the rack that night.
Yes. We're going to get that and Michigan. We're going to have to there's a lot of places you have to go this year. It's going to be uncomfortable.
I would say this. Right. I'm not usually one to go to the opposing press conference, but I might have to go to both Harbaugh and Cal Sanderson's press conferences.
That's going to be great stuff. All right, that segues directly into mean tweet of the week. I don't have a star. I do have from this Soriano segment. I guess it's not this week, but hey, look, still mean tweet. Mean tweets are great. The Penn State fans on Twitter are just
relentless.
I mean, I thought Michigan fans were bad. I think it's pretty darn close. But I got this one after I wrote a column on this. It was simply, this entire article is based on a false premise. Get your facts straight. You are worse than CNN. Ouch.
How'd that work out for that guy?
I didn't work out so great.
Old takes exposed.
Old take exposed. All right, you got a meaner one than that, though. I think
I have two. We'll go back to when the Soriano thing first broke, and I got to give some history here. You mentioned Penn State fans being relentless on Twitter.
Yes.
I'm now 2 years into a Saquon Barkley tweet that I sent out in September 2015 that said I didn't know if he could crack the Rutgers depth chart in his first career start. Turns out he's amazing.
He's pretty good.
And he could be.
14 carries, 187 yards last week.
Yeah, turns out he's amazing. Yep. We've known that now for a while. Penn State fans are still acting like I tweeted this yesterday.
Yep.
So on August 8th, I got from PGQUE, could Soriano crack the Rutgers running back depth chart?
I love it. That's good. Dude, that's good. That's creative. That's not mean. That's just funny.
And then this weekend, mean tweet of the week, from AUSTPIN, Ostpin. Saquon Barkley is very good, unlike you, at your job as a journalist.
Ouch. mean tweet of the week. That stings.
All
that
I know
stings.
is I just need to up my game because
You haven't had a mean
we've
tweet
won this
yet.
2
Right.
weeks in a row.
I know.
A lot of people hate me on Twitter.
I tell you,
a lot of
right.
people hate me.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. So let's just wrap this up with predictions as always. We talked about it a little bit, but I think we all think Rutgers is going to win this game. We all know Rutgers has to win this game. We discussed that last week at length. They can't lose this game. So if there's one thing that you want to see from this team that you didn't see last week, what would it be?
I would say I want to see them be more aggressive. I want to see some shots downfield. They have these freshman receivers. I want to see them get involved. Bo Melton, Hunter Hayek, Everett Wormley. I want to see more than the 5. I know they like Jerome Washington as a tight end. That almost scares me a little bit that they're going to keep throwing these 5 and 10-yard passes to Jerome Washington. I want to see them throw the ball downfield, get a little aggressive.
Sarge,
I think getting to the quarterback, they pressured the Jake Browning a little bit more than I expected. But I think maybe getting this quarterback to the ground, because Eastern Michigan actually does have a pretty good quarterback. I believe it or not, he was recruited by Rutgers. He was a 4-star recruit.
Wow.
Rutgers was during the whole Chris Laviano.
Kyle Flood didn't get him?
Well, he chose Chris Laviano.
Wow.
As the story goes,
there was a recruit he didn't get.
As it was told to me today, they picked Laviano over him, and who knows? I mean, but the kid is pretty good,
right.
And can they pressure him, disrupt him? Can Kamoko Toure get closer to that 10 sack total that he keeps on, that we've predicted for him? So, that's probably what I'm looking for the most.
How about that Darnell Davis hit?
Yeah, that's something we should absolutely.
That's all we have to say, really.
Right.
But
it's incredible. That picture went viral after we tweeted that Andy Mills took a photo of him getting knocked out by Davis. That was great. The one thing I want to see this week, first, I want to see Jonathan Lewis. I think
good point.
He couldn't play. I understand totally why you wouldn't want to put a rookie in that situation. Yep. I asked Chris Ash about it this week. He said that the goal is to hopefully get him some exposure, some playing time. You would think that would mean a first half series against Eastern Michigan, unless for some reason they're down early on. You would think that he'd get in there. I'm just curious. This is a kid who's got a lot of athleticism. He's a big recruit. He's a big guy. I've seen him in practice. He's going to be able to run the. Even they ran the Wildcat against Washington, and they used Janarian Grant. That should be Jonathan Lewis. So, if you get him in there and he can do add a little to the wrinkle of his offense, it can't hurt.
I'll say one more too. Janarian Grant.
Yep.
Needs to get more
surprised,
more involved.
Disappointed by first game by him with those 2 punts over his head and just not really involved to the degree I thought he'd be.
They did target him a little bit more. Believe it or not, the first Bolin interception was to Grant. I'm no expert, but I think Grant might have actually taken that route a little bit deeper than he should have. But he wasn't really involved, and to see him maybe get a punt return or a kick return, that would be good.
All right, gentlemen. Well, we'll be back here. We did predict. Do you want to predict the score?
Yeah.
Give me a score. Okay, hit me with a score.
I'll go 28-21 Rutgers.
Okay. Sarge?
I can't pick a field goal until I actually see them make a field goal.
Right, that's fair.
Didn't you pick Eastern Michigan 2 weeks ago in your season?
No, I didn't.
No, that wasn't you?
No.
I don't know what score I picked 2 weeks ago, but I think Rutgers will win comfortably. I would say they'll win by 10.
Okay, I'm going to be bigger than that. I'm going to go like 31-17 victory for the Scarlet Knights.
That would be impressive.
I think it's going to be it's going to be a much needed. Based on what I saw, I think they will win this game and win it pretty easily. And I've gotten 25 straight correct, so I have to drop that on every. I'm going to drop that on every podcast.
I can't wait
until I. You can't wait, can you?
Yeah.
I know it's going to be tough.
We're going to do a special podcast just
when I'm sitting there at like 32 in late November. You guys can imagine how relentless this is going to be.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you again, gentlemen. It was fun, and we'll be back here again next week to recap the Eastern Michigan game. Thanks for listening.